everyone. Maybe I'll just apply this one to marketing if it's maybe it's promoting an upcoming event. So that's something that really the marketing team would be in charge of. And then in the last step, you either have the option to apply now and push out the signature one time, or schedule and apply and have it apply to your users on a recurring basis. The main reason for this is that your users can always go into their Gmail settings and modify their signature. Some people like to add in a quote or change the font style. And to prevent that and just make sure that all of your signatures look the same, you could schedule this to apply once a day, and eventually your users would give up trying to customize because they would be overridden every day. So back to the tools list. Now we'll go through the deprovisioning process. This is intended to kind of give you the best practices for deprovisioning a user. So if they are leaving your domain or they're just being suspended, you can use this walkthrough to make sure that you take care of all of the necessary actions so they only have access to what they still need. So going through this, you can decide how to display the user in your directory. In the case that they're being fully deleted, they're leaving the company, you probably would want to hide them. You can either reset the user's password or not. So if they're leaving in 2 weeks, maybe hold off on resetting their password. You could create an auto reply or assign an email delegate so someone else could kind of start to take over their inbox and get acclimated in there. And probably the most important pieces of this are the drive and group sections. So as an owner of documents and groups for that matter, when you are deleted from the domain, all of the docs and groups that you are an owner of, those will be deleted as well. So it's really important that you transfer all of those documents to another user before that person is deleted, just to make sure that no information is lost. So from within this screen, you could choose to, maybe you have a demo administrator account, you could transfer all of the documents over to that, and a folder will be created in that user's drive saying documents previously owned by Albert Einstein, and it will retain all of the folder structure and all of the hierarchies from that original user set up. So just keep that in mind when when someone's leaving your organization, to be sure to take care of all their documents. And again, same thing for groups. At the end of this walkthrough, you have a checklist, so just a couple of reminders that you can add in. You can customize these tasks if you really need to collect some items, maybe a laptop, keys, some kind of equipment. You can set up reminders for those as well. And then you have the option of either suspending or fully deleting this user. So if you would like to hold off for now, maybe they do have a couple more weeks, you just wanted to get started, so you could set up a calendar reminder, and that will pop up in 2 weeks or a month or however long to remind you to go back in and fully delete the user. Something important to note with this deprovisioning process is that all of the actions are occurring in real time. So if you do go ahead and transfer their documents or reset their password, even if you haven't decided to fully suspend or delete them, those will take effect immediately. So if they still need access to their account for a little while, maybe just hold off on that. And then on this screen, you can see all of the users who are in the process of being deprovisioned and if they've been completed or not. So if you're short on licenses, maybe before you go in and buy a few more, you could check to see who's been suspended for a couple of months and maybe just delete their account to recycle that license. I showed deprovisioning a little bit I'm sorry, I showed email delegations in that deprovisioning process, so I'll go ahead and show how that works. A delegation is allowing one user to have full access to another's inbox. So all you need to do to set that up is enter in a pairing of users. And by creating this, in this case, Albert Einstein will have full access to Polly Allen's inbox. So he could go in and going into Gmail here, you would have a drop-down list for this account, and by clicking on that user's profile, you can get into their inbox, go through folders, messages, incoming, outgoing, chat records, and really just have full control of their inbox. Another similar tool is the email audit monitor. So this is more discreet than a delegation. A user cannot detect that they are being monitored, and it's set up the same way. So you just create this pairing, and then one user will receive a copy of every incoming and outgoing email, as well as all on the record chats. So those will be kind of BCC'd and sent to that user, so it would be helpful probably to set up a filter so those messages don't flood the user's inbox. Probably my favorite tool is the Apps Butler. This is kind of like a Siri or a chatbot for Google Chat. So you can use Apps Butler to query some information such as user lookups, group memberships, and you can even send messages using him as well. So along the right here, you can see a list of the functions that you have and the keywords that will prompt a lookup. If I go into Gmail and chat with Apps Butler, for example, I could enter who and type in just a part of a name. So in this case, I said Larry, and it will return all of the Larrys on your domain and all of their contact info. So maybe you're on the phone and someone asks for your colleague's mobile phone. All you would need to do is type in that information, and then you have all of this quickly returned. So another really handy feature is to use this for group memberships. So I don't know about you, but I've sent an email to an entire group without really realizing who's a member of it. So in this case, you could just be sure that you're aware of all of the members within a particular group before you're exchanging messages. Also within Apps Butler, as an administrator, you have a couple of additional shortcuts. So you could send messages to all of your users or just users in a particular group. You can turn this on or off, and in the case of a group cast, this is in accordance with the group settings that you already have set up. So depending on who can post and who can send messages, those users will or will not also be able to send messages out using Apps Butler. The broadcast function can be pretty helpful for someone maybe at the front desk. They could send a quick chat to everyone in your domain saying lunch is here, or meeting in 5 minutes, or fire drill, or any kind of a message that might get lost in an email. Also, as an administrator, you can reset your users' passwords directly from the Apps Butler, or even suspend a user. So I've heard of this being helpful if you have a chat client for your phone. You can actually reset someone's password in an emergency without even being by a computer. And in order to subscribe your users to Apps Butler, you'll need to invite them. And you can select everyone to invite. And then as soon as they accept Apps Butler to be able to chat with, then they'll begin receiving messages. The other tool I'd like to point out here is Mobile Contact Sync. So this utilizes Google Sync and allows you to push all of your directory contacts to your users' mobile phones. As you can see here, you can also choose to display shared contacts. if you have built up that database and want that to be available to your users as well. But in doing so, you add your users up as subscribers, and they can elect to display all of this directory info on their phone, and it will also be pushed to Google Contacts. So you'll have folders of your users, your directory, as well as shared contacts if you choose. The last pieces of the application that I'll go over are within settings. So something that's very helpful, I think, mostly in the case of larger domains or if you have multiple admins, would be the access control. So this allows you to create delegated access for any of your users to just bits and pieces of FlashPanel. Maybe you would like for your marketing team to be in charge of your email signatures. They could probably do a great job customizing those, adding in HTML. But you don't want them to have access to Drive or any user group information. So you could do so using an access control. And I already have one set up for signatures, so I'll go in there. You create a name for the role, and then you can click through and select or deselect any piece of the application to give them access to. So in this case, we'll bypass the entire directory as well as Drive, and then only select email signatures within Tools. And then you can select the users, one or multiple, who will have access to this role. So the way that looks, and you can test this as an admin, for your user, they will have a role that appears in this drop-down menu. And you can see from this view that it's a very sparse version of FlashPanel. This person only has access to the home page, which doesn't display any of those metrics, as well as the email signature tool. So this is just a way to maybe delegate some of your tasks within FlashPanel as an admin and really assign those out to people who would be most useful for. While I'm in this dropdown, I'll go ahead and show the end user view. So this is available to all of your users, all of the users on your domain, and it's mostly read-only. They can use this as a directory primarily. They can see their profile, any of their contact information, and the entire directory listing. So they could go in and see quite a bit of profile information, as well as the groups that this person belongs to. And the same kind of thing for groups and group membership, assuming that they have permission. And I mentioned that shared contacts will be available in a read-only view for end users, and this is where those would appear as well. So as far as this profile for an end user, you can give them permission to self-edit this. That can usually save quite a bit of time for an administrator. So if someone's changing their cell phone number, or they move, you can empower them to edit their own contact info and stay on top of that. Back into the settings menu. So I just mentioned being able to self-edit in users' profile info, and this is where you would set that up. So if you toggle allow users to edit their profile to on, here you can actually pick and choose the fields that you want them to have edit rights to. So probably not what their title is, who their manager is, but things like phone numbers, email addresses would probably be fine. You have another option as far as group settings go. So this is a very broad setting, just meaning any public options are on, and then you can fine-tune those using the group settings either one by one or in bulk. Here's where you can also determine the days which FlashPanel syncs. So any changes made within FlashPanel will automatically sync over to the Google Control Panel, But if you're going the other way and making changes in the control panel, you'll need to run a sync for those to transfer into FlashPanel. For that reason, we've built in 3 times weekly automatic syncs, and this is where you can modify those days if it makes more sense for your domain. And at any time, if you make a lot of changes in between these scheduled syncs, you can force a manual sync by clicking on these refresh arrows next to the directory or drive headings. So that covers the demo of FlashPanel. I encourage everyone to check out our Help Center. So this has articles on every piece of the application with screenshots and how-tos. You can also post in our forums or request a new feature if you think of something cool. We always like to hear those. And then by visiting the resources page, you'll find all upcoming webinars, and now that you've seen an intro webinar, you're probably ready for some more advanced functionality within the app. So just keep an eye out for those. And for example, coming up, we have how to best manage your directory in bulk. So these are really more specialized and would probably be helpful as you continue to get started and become more advanced in FlashPanel.